Hey, how you doing? So listen, you like to go out to seafood restaurants and eat? Or maybe you don't like to go out to seafood restaurants and eat. But I got this story here today. It's going to tell us what things you should not order when you go to a seafood restaurant. So you might want to hang around and listen to this because here we go.
Zombie apocalypse.
Hey, how you doing? Good to see you again and welcome back to the show. Thanks for stopping by. And as always, hope this find everybody safe, healthy, and in good spirits. And definitely remember, if you're new here, which is you, definitely hit that subscribe button, hit that bell icon. This way you know the next time I come out with a video. And a thumbs up always helps. I appreciate you all. Thanks again for stopping by. So listen, I had to share this with you. I came across this article on what foods you shouldn't order when you go out to a seafood restaurant. Now, that's kind of crazy, right? Because you go out to seafood to get seafood. Why is there food that you shouldn't order from there? Well, this little article is going to explain to you a few of the things why you shouldn't order this certain seafood from a seafood restaurant. Let's talk about that right now. Things you should never order from a seafood restaurant. Whether it's Red Lobster or your favorite local seafood shack, or even a high-end fine dining restaurant, when it comes to ordering seafood out, there's a little bit of risk involved. Sure, you could order seafood out for years and never have an issue, but talk to the most seafood connoisseurs and you'll soon realize that many have at least one horror story under their belt that ruined their weekend. The sushi that was most definitely not the type of fish it was advertised to be. Additionally, many diners assume seafood is healthy across the board. After all, we're constantly told how healthy fish is. Low fat, filled with omega-3, fatty acids, part of a heart healthy diet, better than red meat. But that doesn't mean that unhealthy items aren't lurking on your favorite seafood. And on top of all this, consuming seafood is tied to many negative environmental factors. For instance, overfishing endangers important fish populations, while poor fishing practices result in pollution and waste in our oceans. So with all this said, how are you supposed to even enjoy eating seafood? Well, it all comes down to what you order. Being careful what you order at a seafood restaurant can go a long way in ensuring you're only eating healthfully, relatively risk-free options, as well as seafood options that aren't potentially endangering the planet. That being said, here are the 13 things you should never order from a seafood restaurant. All right, the first thing they're saying you should never order from a seafood restaurant is one of my favorites, and I always order it. Fried calamari is at the top seafood restaurant started to stay away from. Is there any seafood appetizer as popular as fried calamari? Calamari, whatever you want to call it, that's what I'm saying, calamari. Even restaurants that aren't particularly known for their seafood dishes serve up this favorite appetizer. However, just because fried calamari is seafood, that doesn't make it necessarily healthy. In fact, fried calamari is one of the unhealthiest things you can order at many seafood restaurants, and that goes for across the entire menu, not just the appetizer section. Wow. Just take a look at the crispy calamari and vegetables on Red Lobster's menu. This appetizer packs a whopping 1,830 calories with 1,140 calories from fat and 4,720 milligrams of sodium. That means if you're an average adult with a mostly sedentary lifestyle, you order this appetizer, you've eaten either mostly all of your calories for the day or more than your calories for the day. Wow. It also means you greatly exceeded the recommended amount of sodium intake for one day. Wow. You know, the hardest say says definitely no more than 23 milligrams of sodium per day, and ideally no more than 1,500 milligrams of sodium per day for most adults. And that is 4,720 milligrams. Wow. Bluefin tuna is also one of the most popular tunas used in sushi restaurants, and it's endangered. If you have a particular love for sushi, you might enjoy the occasional tuna roll, but you will want to watch out for bluefin tuna, which sometimes go by other names including magora, akami, otoro, and chutoro. Bluefin tuna, according to the World Wildlife Fund, is one of the largest types of tuna, and there are now 3 different species of bluefin tuna, the most endangered species being Atlantic bluefin tuna. Despite the name, Atlantic bluefin tuna aren't actually sourced from the Atlantic Ocean. Instead, most of them come from the Mediterranean. Both in the United States and abroad, Atlantic bluefin tuna is top choice for sushi and sashimi, and as a result, bluefin tuna is also overfished. Wow, wow, wow. Is snapper at your favorite seafood restaurant isn't what you'd think it is. So that snapper at your favorite seafood restaurant isn't what you'd think it is. You like to eat snapper at the restaurant? It's not what you think it is. Love ordering snapper at your local seafood restaurant? You may not actually love snapper. Instead, you could be falling for another fish. That's because according to One Eater article, snapper is one of the most common fake foods on restaurant menus. An Oceania study found that snapper was the most incorrectly labeled type of seafood with the mislabeling rate of 87%. Tuna took second place with 59%. According to the study and its samples, only 7 of the 120 samples of red snapper purchased nationwide were really actually red snapper. Wow. The other 113 samples were another fish. So they're faking out with that snapper. So what actually is the snapper on your plate? Oceana says oftentimes tilapia is passed off as snapper because tilapia is usually farmed, making it more affordable. However, the organization also noted that if you are going to order snapper, the best place to do so would be Florida. The study found Florida to be the geographic area with the least amount of mislabeling, probably because the waters off the coast of Florida are filled with readily available snapper, making it easy and more affordable to source. Wow, you believe that? Snapper is freaking really tilapia when they mislabel it. That's crazy. How about eels? Eating endangered eels at a seafood restaurant is multifaceted issue, especially for the Japanese. Eels, sometimes referred to as ungai, when served grilled, basted, and in sushi, is a popular treat both in Japan and certain U.S. restaurants. Unfortunately, eels are endangered across the world, and overfishing puts them at great risk. But despite the concern, there's still a huge ungami demand. It's crazy. Whatever the special at a seafood restaurant is, you don't want it. So whatever the special at a seafood restaurant is, you don't want it. Every foodie has heard Anthony Bourdain's likely most well-known advice: never order a fish on a Monday because it's probably just left over from the weekend. That advice pertains to seafood specials too. We can all agree that fresh fish is the best fish, and restaurant specials can be a way for a chef to move a certain ingredient, as Chef Sylvia Barber noted in an Insider article. Specials are tricky in restaurants. It could be the most fresh and delicious special, but in some restaurants, specials are a way to clean up the refrigerator. Specials can go both ways, but when it comes to fish, an ingredient that relies on freshness for its quality, not to mention its safety, which could mean a chef is even more tempted to push it harder to get out the door. Wouldn't you want to err on the side of caution to play it safe? Whenever you're at a seafood restaurant, especially on a Monday, just avoid the special and go for your favorite regular menu item. Got that? So try not to eat the specials. They might sound good, but they're trying to clean out the refrigerator. And on Mondays, you shouldn't do it because you're getting a weekend. You're getting a weekend special. How about king mackerel? That king mackerel restaurant dish is likely high in mercury. Fish and shellfish come with some risk of high mercury, but the most part, it's not necessarily a worry. According to Harvard Health Publishing, most men don't need to worry about mercury exposure from seafood. Unfortunately, that's not the case for pregnant women, breastfeeding women, or children. That's because the FDA says while mercury occurs naturally in the environment, it's also released into the air via industrial pollution that mercury can accumulate, fall to the ground, and then infiltrate local water sources, the ocean and rivers. Wow. Do your part to save the sharks the next time you visit a seafood restaurant. Speaking of sharks, though, the high mercury content isn't the only reason why you want to avoid eating this delicacy at seafood restaurants. While shark meat is legal to eat in the United States, it's still highly frowned upon by those who know a bit about the industry's behind the scenes practices and the popularity of finning. A Food and Wine article on topic explains that finning involves catching sharks, removing their fins, and then cruelly releasing the sharks back into the waters alive. Fishers find this method attractive primarily because the fins are the most in demand part of the shark, and by only taking the fin and dumping the helpless shark, which at that point can't swim and lies helpless until they're either eaten by another marine animal or they suffocate, they can save room in their boats for more fins. Wow. Currently, finning as well as buying and selling shark fins is illegal in 11 states where eating shark fins is illegal. The fins are eaten in a range of ways, from cold to cooked, canned to frozen. You probably won't find shark fins for sale in the United States, but if you do seek on a shark on a menu at a seafood restaurant, it's likely served as a steak fillet. Wow, unbelievable. That's crazy, right? I didn't know that they just take the shark. I thought, I mean, I guess other people do. I guess the shark is just the most delicate. The fins. I thought the meat would be. How about tilefish? Ordering the tilefish at a seafood restaurant could lead to expansive problems for other species. Tilefish has become a relatively popular seafood option, but it's one to stay clear of for more reasons than its high mercury content. Tilefish were caught along with the Atlantic coast of North America all the way from Nova Scotia down to the Gulf of Mexico, usually caught via long lines, and they are, accordingly to the Environmental Defense Fund, highly susceptible to overfishing, and management plans have been put in place to help tilefish populations rebound. So evidently they're going to stink, That's crazy. How about catfish? I know a lot of people like catfish. They have a problem here with catfish now. Take a closer look at the catfish before ordering at the local seafood joint. Try to tell another seller that catfish is bad and you'll likely find yourself in a fight. Fried or blackened catfish is a common staple on many of the southern menu seafood restaurants or otherwise. However, before you chow down on this favorited and affordable food, it's worth digging into where and how the catfish was raised. Compared to coastal fish farming, catfish farming is relatively environmentally friendly as well as safer for both the fish and for the end consumer. However, if the catfish, before you, it's worth digging where the catfish was raised, compared to, I just lost my spot. Sorry, guys. However, if the catfish is on your plate wasn't raised in the United States, that might not be the case at all. According to Prevention, if your catfish was imported to the United States, there's a good chance it came from Vietnam, where catfish farms frequently use antibiotics on the fish that are outlawed in the United States. Additionally, two fish that the Vietnamese call catfish aren't actually considered catfish in the United States, meaning the treatment is even more difficult to monitor. So if you really want catfish, ask if the catfish on the menu was raised or caught locally or at least stateside. Wow. When ordering seafood, consider that tilapia are tough, a little too tough. Most tilapia is farm raised, which comes with a few downsides. Depending on the fish farm, the tilapia will be fed grain-rich diets filled with GMO foods, including corn and soybeans. Additionally, there's a chance that farm tilapia could contain toxins depending on where it was raised. If the tilapia is raised overseas and imported, things get worse, as the Washington Post reports. Chinese imported tilapia are sometimes fed diets of poultry and livestock waste. Wow. Beyond all this, though, tilapia is a tough, hardy fish, which makes them dangerous to their ecosystems. Farm tilapia are known to escape, and once they're out, they wreak havoc on local fish populations and can simply alter habits via eating water, plants, and even building nests. The white tuna restaurant is likely something much more dangerous. White tuna restaurant is likely something that's much more dangerous. A lot of fish go by multiple of names, which means it can be difficult to ensure you're only eating what you actually want to eat. While white tuna and albacore are often used interchangeably, describe the same fish. If you see anything referred to as super white tuna, it's escolar, which also sometimes go by shiro maguro. and escolar can cause a huge range of issues. Known for causing gastritis distress, escolar is admittedly yummy, sustainable, affordable, and healthy. Other than that gastritis thing, of course, escolar has a particularly high oil content, and the oil found in escolar is similar to castor oil. And just like consuming castor oil, will cause you some discomfort, so will consuming escolar. The report discomfort is pretty extreme too, and is often difficult to control, sudden, surprising, and well explosive. In fact, escolar is sometimes referred to as the X-lax fish, and is even banned in Japan and Italy. Wow, it's banned in Japan and Italy. If you purchase escolar in Canada, Sweden, or Denmark, you'll see that it comes with a warning label. We all can likely read that gastritis distress sometimes to avoid. So for your pants' sake, avoid the escolar or the trickyly named super white tuna and Shiro Maguro. Wow. How about this in the Japanese restaurants? The tempura. There's a reason the Japanese warn against eating tempura under conditions common at seafood restaurants. As a deep fried fatty food, tempura isn't going to be the healthiest option on any seafood restaurant menu, but there's another reason why you might want to avoid it the next time you dine out. Culturally, the Japanese warn against eating tempura under very specific but seemingly harmless conditions. A journalist for the Japan Times wrote about a nasty experience following enjoying some tempura and watermelon. I'd indulge in classic bad food combination, or tabuis, called gashuhukin or shakugukin. These are foods that are not supposed to be eaten with each other for health reasons, especially during the summer when the grueling heat and humidity takes a toll on our bodies. In other words, pairing deep fried oily tempura with anything cold and watery, from watermelon to other fruit, the watermelon is the most common, warned against tempura pairing, is a receipt for digestive disaster. So if you're watching Waistline, skip the tempura. If you're worried about tummy troubles, though, just watch what you're eating alongside the tempura. Wow. Here's one here. The next time you order seafood at a restaurant, help save one of the world's oldest fish species, the Atlantic Sturgeon. The Atlantic Sturgeon is one of the oldest fish species, but is facing extinction due to a range of issues from overfishing to watershed development, says the Yale School of Environment. A fish with an abundant backstory, the Atlantic Sturgeon was used primarily for its caviar for decades, and the species is a thank for Delaware becoming the caviar capital of North America in the 1800s. In fact, when fishers flocked to Delaware to harvest the caviar, it was called the Black Gold Rush. Now Atlantic Sturgeon is considered endangered or threatened, depending on the population segment. The best way to help solve this issue, pass on the Atlantic Sturgeon when offered caviar. Ask where it's from. It's not uncommon for caviar to be sourced under rather fishy circumstances. Wow, wow, wow. So there you have it, guys. A bunch of fish and things that you should, avoid eating when you go to the restaurants. Now, they didn't say about buying them in the store. I guess when you're in the store and you buy, you can actually talk to somebody and find out where it's from. You can ask the people in the restaurant. I'm not sure if they'll be honest with you or not. But keep all that in mind. I know there was a lot to consume. If you missed a few and you just go back and rewind and check it out again, because it's definitely some good information in there, if you go out to eat seafood. But again, guys, thanks for stopping by. I appreciate you stopping and listening. Remember, if you're new to see us, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell icon. Thumbs up always helps. Let me know about your comments. Let me know what's going on out there. Let me know, if you know anything about this fish, what the story is. All right, guys. So until next time, I'm out of here. Take care of yourself. I'll see you around. Eat safe, eat healthy. Take care.